Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in again. Today is Monday, July 22nd. It is noon here on the East Coast, and you are currently watching the Skill Building Monday Drawing Group here live on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. I'm your host, Jason Leeser, and if this is working for you, please let us know in the chats, drop us a comment, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that will all be receiving rave reviews. You can find Reinventing the Tattoo at www.reinventingthetattoo.com, where you can try it out for free. You do not have to subscribe right away. We have three different options for you to try it out before you decide if you want a subscription or not. The first option is to take a sample webinar from the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon, where you get to go through and get like a sneak peek into what it's like to have a full Reinventing the Tattoo subscription. Or you can get some free advice from Guy Aitchison about your unique goals, which is always good to have goals to work towards. Or you can take a comprehensive tattoo history course from Jay Brown, which, being a tattoo history nerd myself, I absolutely love it. Can't recommend that option enough. At reinventingthetattoo.com, you also have access to a full event schedule with full weekly and special event live stream details. For example, if you wanted to join us live today, and we already have a couple of people waiting to jump in, we've got some very special guests lined up for today. You could do that by going to reinventingthetattoo.com, clicking on the events area, and you'll see a calendar filled with events and live streams coming up with links to join us live. You also have access to the Reinventing 24/7 channel, which has 13 different episodes going at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as well as a whole host of professional development courses and on-demand seminars from over 20 world-class tattooers, all available at reinventingthetattoo.com. You can also find us in both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as our Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel, our Reinventing the Tattoo Roku channel, which has 12 to 15 different episodes going at any given time. It's a lot like our Reinventing 24/7 channel. But the Roku channel is available on all Roku-enabled devices. You can also at all of the major podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify. Or you can do what most people do and just pull up your browser and do a quick search for Reinventing the Tattoo, and you'll find it all, except for the book, which is still currently out of print. So you won't be able to find a copy of that unless maybe you're on eBay or you know someone that's trying to sell one. Once again, if this is working for you, please let us know in the comments and in the chats, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. We have a number of special events coming up. Next Monday, July 29th at noon, we will have a live interview with Russ Abbott from Ink and Dagger Tattoo and Tattoo Smart, where we will be discussing 3D modeling and the changing landscape of tattoo design in today's world. It's going to be an absolutely awesome interview. I'm super stoked to have him on here, and I can't wait for that. Following that, the Monday after that, Monday, August 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4 p.m. Mountain Time, we will have another live interview with Anthony Tex from Deadly Tattoos, where we will be discussing a little bit more in depth, traveling, teaching seminars, and thinking outside the box. Getting away from some of these already decided norms in tattooing and how to switch things up but still stay the same, which is something that he is absolutely phenomenal with doing. Following that, Reinventing the Tattoo will be live at the Hell City, Phoenix, Arizona Tattoo Convention, where special guests include Paul Booth, Mike Cole, Ty McEwen, Ron Earhart, Amber Joy, D-Rock, Oak Adams, and Anna Mia, Brian Geckel, Jimmy DeLessio, Pepe Carrere, Chris Mack, of course myself, and I believe Renee Little may be joining us at that convention. Not quite sure yet, but Definitely an all-star to add to the lineup. Following that, October 24th through 27th in Hancock, Massachusetts, Reinventing the Tattoo will also be live at the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. Um, and it is going to be an absolutely unreal lineup this year. We will be beaming out live from Jiminy Peak in Massachusetts, and we have got presenters lined up that include Jake Meeks, Kyle Olson, Renee Little, Mickey Schlick, Sandy McAndrew will be flying in from Canada. Thea Duskin will be there. Corey Ferguson, Steve Butcher will be teaching a seminar. Christina Christie will be in attendance. Gunner, oh, Gunner's awesome. I love Gunner. Such a good guy. Gunner will be there teaching a seminar. Anthony Tex will be teaching a seminar. Russ Abbott will be there teaching a seminar. I will be there teaching a seminar. From Needle Jig, who always shows up. He's teaching a seminar. All of that and a whole lot more. You do not want to miss out on this year's Paradise Tattoo Gathering. This is going to be one for the books, and I personally cannot wait. I'm actually starting to plan out what I'm going to bring and who I'm going to be hanging out with and all that stuff now. Mostly just because I don't get to see a whole lot of people that often unless they're at Paradise Gathering. So yeah, but it's okay. Life is good. Would like to go through and thank some of our sponsors and some of the people that make these shows happen. Starting off with worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They're constantly keeping everything updated. As we know, living in this post-pandemic era, there are still tattoo events and conventions getting rescheduled. So if you want the latest, most up-to-date tattoo event or convention information coming to a city or town near you, or maybe it's one you plan on visiting, Lord knows that's how I plan all my vacations, take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Would also like to thank TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattoo artists of all levels. They are 100% competitive with any type of CRM, mailing list, or scheduling software out there. So if you're really looking for the digital tools to help you get more people to come through the door, to really get the kind of work that you really want to do, if you're really looking to optimize your booking process, take a look at the tattoonow.com package. I can tell you right now, they've been in business for over 20 years and you will not be disappointed. Would also like to thank Guy Aitchison. He is the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. Go to guyaitchison.com where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia, some of his DVDs. I believe he still has a few custom coil machines for sale, as well as countless fine art prints and the occasional oil painting, all for sale at guyaitchison.com. Would also like to thank one of our affiliates, Amy Nichols, over at the Apprenticeship Diaries. That is my recommended place to go to if you are looking to become a tattoo apprentice, or if you are currently a tattoo apprentice and want to know if maybe the apprenticeship you're in is a good one. Take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. It's a podcast. It is free, and you will not be disappointed. As always, we ask that if you like today's show, please go through and post a positive review on the channel. Help us get the word out. If you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event, become a sponsor of our community, or if you are looking for a fine art or a tattoo critique, you can always email management at reinventingthetattoo.com. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down at the bottom of the page. This way you stay up to date for all of the new shows and episodes coming out here live on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. And that kind of wraps up our intro, and we've got two very special guests with me today. We have got Renee Little and Mark Lascarbo, two super influential people in my life. I still won't ever forget, this was before I ever started tattooing. I remember going onto the Needle Jig website, and there was a page on the website at that point in time that had the round or curved magnum theory, right? And it blew my mind just how this one concept could completely change everything. And the guy that came up with that is on the show today. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
That's a little
Thank you.
dramatic, my friend.
I am not being
That's a lot.
dramatic, dude. This was back before tattoo information was as prominent as it is today. So like you had to scour the web for anything that might help you out, you know? And yeah, it's just kind of how I had to, start my start my journey, if you will. Um, but I can't thank you enough.
Ah,
I learned more from your seminars than I think I did in 2 years as an apprentice. Um, and you got some knowledge, my friend. You do. And
I appreciate the
anyone,
kindness and the love, my friend.
well, I'm not trying to blow smoke, man. I'm just trying to tell you the way I see it.
You just want to pry all my secrets out with good whiskey. I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
That's too
mean,
much attention on Mark. He's too
if
too humble
if
for that.
that's all it
It works.
costs, okay.
It does work.
Yeah, it
I've
works
known Mark just,
really
I think,
well.
as long, Jason. I can say that works. Yes.
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 Yeah, I'll
But
have
you are right.
a newer bottle of something for you this year, Mark. Something nice for you to try out.
All right,
So
I'll try and
Oh
bring
yeah.
something you haven't had too.
that might be tricky.
You can leave me out of that one, guys.
Well, it's okay.
Well, it's not a party
But you
unless
are
you're there,
right, though.
Renee.
There wasn't. I
We can
like how
find
you put
something
it
else to
where.
entertain you, Renee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's easy. It's easy. Little pretty butterflies. That's all I need. Um,
Yeah.
but no, you are right, Jason, a little bit, even though we have to keep Mark humble,
We
we
do.
love him so
We do.
much, but there wasn't that much information. And I do like recall, now that you say it, I do recall like stumbling upon the needle jig website after meeting Mark through conventions 1,000 years ago and just being like thankful for such a plethora of knowledge in one place, like an actual directory, like words with pictures, with definition. And a lot of our apprenticeships, I don't think, included that because a lot of it was on the fly. A lot of it was, bikers trying to tell us how to put ink in skin. And a lot of it was just do it, like take your
Yep.
time, or it wasn't actual like the needle theory. And I've learned a lot of people still don't know needle theory still today until they hear us talking about it or hear about Mark's seminar. There's not a whole lot of people that talk about needle theory, even though that's what we're doing every day. So, take it, Mark. You deserve it.
I appreciate it. I mean, as much as I'd like to believe I'm a curmudgeon that hates all people walking this earth, there's a certain
Well, you
group
are.
that I am rather fond of, and that's the people in our community. So, and when it comes to that group, I want to share. That's all. I want to share, and I want to be around other people that I can, absorb new knowledge from myself. So that is what keeps me going, even 1,000 years later. Here, it keeps me going as to the camaraderie and the conversations that I have. I even tuned into the 9 a.m. broadcast. Soba was on there, and let's see, geez, who was on there? Soba and Tony,
Yep.
and oh my God,
Rich was on there.
yeah, Rich Helton. Okay,
Yep.
and I was like driving, listening to that, going through the mountains here. So I'm losing signal, picking up signal, catching bits and pieces, and it just got me all excited just to be there this coming weekend because Rich I've never spent a lot of time around. I've met him in passing. Tony I've met before, but just again in passing. So I think. Tony said my booth is between Soba and Mike Skyver, so it's going to be a good time. I mean,
Oh man, that is going to be wow,
well, I mean,
wow.
hopefully we can just get a lot of that same thing, the sharing of knowledge. I had an awesome time last year at the Paradise Gathering, just hanging out with Soba, drinking some beers, and you know, diving down the rabbit hole of what is another creator's mind, because that to
Mm-hmm.
me, that just gets me going. It's like when I can see what somebody else is doing. Not to bite off it, steal from it, or whatever, but it inspires me to get out there and get back to what I love. So that's you know, it's what we want to do.
You're glimmering from them, or you're gleaming from them.
I'm
You're not
I'm
stealing, you're not, but
feeding off of them.
well,
We're all
no, it sounds
parasites and
vampiric
pirates.
that way, but
I mean,
it's
think about it.
yeah, it's like the sparkly version of mirroring. It's you get to take that little bit of knowledge and actually apply it to your life,
Yeah.
and I think that's why these events are so cool. Because I mean, I look at my career now and I'm like, whoa, I've done it for so long, but I still smile and I really think about what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it must be from all these conventions that I could still do, because I get to meet people on a different level. It's professional, but it's also more relaxed because we are like, I know we're going to talk about Rubber City, but you have these shows that have these themes and that make it fun and make it so relaxed that now your professional coworkers are like you're able to play in the sandbox to one another. You're able to play and learn, and it's not so formal. I guess it takes away a little bit of that extra pressure. So I think that's the whole point, is that we could actually talk to one another, and that's a whole subsection in its own in this community, in this industry, is that there are people who like to stay in caves, and there's some people who really like to get together and help each other grow, and I think that's what we should be doing, but that's what we have in common.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I've really stepped back from doing the large scale shows or whatever for a number of reasons. Mental sanity is probably a key one there. But for the most part, I started going out and stepping out and doing a few smaller shows by myself, single booth, rolling in just my products and getting to have meaningful conversations with individuals about the things that I care about, the things I produce, and the things they want to know about, is way more fun for me, way more healthy for me than running back and forth up and down a double booth filled with gazillion products trying to get somebody a roll of tape or a box of gloves. Yeah. So that's that where that was a lot of fun, and I did it for many, many years. This is definitely more fun because it's that bond. It's as a tattooer, one of the biggest things about being a tattooer was the bond between artist and client. Okay. It's a meeting of the minds. It's so personal. And then when I get into the supply end, a lot of that seemed to be impersonal when I was getting into it. You exchange product for money, and that was that. And what I like about it is the meeting of the minds again, sitting down, talking to artists, finding out what their struggles are and seeing if I might have a solution. And if not, do I know somebody else that might have a solution? I'm not afraid to talk to other creators, inventors, and business owners to try and work together. So that to me is the fun. I'm a problem solver. So running back and forth for taping gloves, I'm done doing that.
Yay. Well, I'm glad you found a good, compromise, because I think we both kind of hit it really hard in our career with the bigger shows, and I even took a big step back as well. But my compromise, kind of like yours, was finding shows where I knew I wouldn't be lost in the sea, because what was killing me, I realized, and this is so dumb, but I was feeling like I was getting a little older, and I used to be really, really athletic in my 20s. And I just don't have it in me as much. So with the smaller shows, I feel like I can call the promoter and be like, hey, I really need help getting my bag down from my hotel. Is there anyone that can come help me? Or does anyone want to go to dinner? Because I'm starving, And then even strangers, because it was a small show, would hear me, and we can go as groups and things like that. I felt more alone as an individual and as a business, and in the bigger shows, you kind of get lost in that big sea,
I still like some of the bigger shows, and there's a need for them, and they have their place.
Oh yeah.
It's just that now I can make that conscious decision as
Mm,
to I know I'm making an exchange. I'm exchanging a busier, more profitable show for my time, physical and mental well-being, at least a
yeah.
portion of it, and it's like, and it's okay to do that if you're making that conscious effort and you're taking time off in between to do the self-care that's needed.
Yes.
My problem was when I was doing the shows, there was no time off in between. You were
Yeah.
either packing for a show, tearing down from a show, or at a show. So there was no self-care happening. And that to me became, you know, beyond
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Back to back is murder. I remember like those travel kids. Or Jason, you gotta say something.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions popping in, I think I see.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
Jason's
well, we've got a couple of them, but we also have one more person that decided to join us, the legendary Tony Urbanek.
Hey!
I sincerely apologize. I was on an important call doing business for the show. Gabe was texting me. I couldn't.
Hey,
I
it's
couldn't
the
break
week
away.
of.
you
You're
made
all
it.
good.
Yeah, we're in the crunch hours now. Like with this, I actually leave tomorrow night to go up to Akron and start working on stuff like street team promo and interviews and stuff. We've been putting a lot of work into this, so I apologize for being late. I was listening to Renee talk about like the differences. I didn't catch which shows you were talking about because I got down and I heard, or I sat down and I heard you say something about carrying my bags. I can call people carrying my bags. And that's the kind of show we are.
I volunteer as tribute.
I know. I think I'm texting you later to remind you about my massage table.
Yeah, and I told you, like, I facilitate what we need, and we have a team of people on our that will facilitate all their needs. We're very hands-on, like white glove.
Which I love. And you guys have food. I remember last year or last time I did it, just like you get in from the airport, you unload your stuff, you're gross, and then all of a sudden you have like food. Thank God.
So, we're doing something a little different this year, Renee. We have that load in from 4 to 7 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And as Renee is talking about, we have a buffet set up for the artists so they can load in, they can mingle in the convention center. Well, this year, me and Elizabeth are getting married in the hotel across the street directly after load in. So we opted out of the banquet at the convention center, and we're having just a banger at the hotel. So we'll have like scallops and charcuterie. So we load in 4 to 7 because this isn't complicated enough. We load in 4 to 7. We get married at 8 downstairs. They have a chapel in the Blue Teak Hotel. And then upstairs, the bar restaurant in Blue Teak. We're going to have cake, hors d'oeuvres, bar, and just jazz, bang it out.
Oh, congratulations, too. Holy crap.
But your food will be there. Wait for it. And your
I know
table.
I sound like a princess now, but I'm like, you young whippersnappers will be saying this in a couple of years. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to squeeze a wedding in between everything you're doing.
Oh,
That's pretty
squeezing a wedding, too.
insane.
Have you met me? Like I am.
He's a 2-for-1er.
Have you met my future wife? Both of us, we're like one unit now, and we both bring 2 key traits to the table. And one thing that we have in common is if we want to do something, we're fucking getting it done. That's just how we are, and we just click mindsets together and we go like 150%. Like this show, that's where she's from. This is our life. This is what we do. I've been tattooing 35 years. This is my life. I know what we need. I have a vision how I think it should be. It's almost like an expression of me, this whole show. Like trying to give it to everybody. Like come make money, eat, have fun, we entertain you. Might not be your vibe. You might think it's your vibe. I don't know. But it's like an extension of me and her, and we just we try to drive that home for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was impressed when we talked quite a bit, and I can't even tell you how excited I am to be there. Because, well, before you got here, Tony, Renee, and I were talking about how I'm really getting pulled back more into the small shows because of the personal aspect, the fact
Right.
that I'm going to be able to, well, one, I'm going to be surrounded by a bunch of other cranky old men, but two, it's going to be like, the conversations where we can brainstorm and we can solve problems and we can educate the people coming up, and we can listen to stories that were there before us. It's just like that to me is everything about a show. That so I definitely appreciate what you're doing. So
Well, I do, because all you guys, we all work together as a unit to uplift each other in the directions we're moving. And in the environment that we create in Akron, I like it to be comfortable. And the design was old school, new school, new kids, every generation in between. And I pick key players from each generation that I know will mesh, because some don't. I mean, I hate to say that, some people just don't. But people like us come together, mutual minds. We create in different directions. It's not just about tattooing. It's about the history of tattooing. It's about machines. It's about art. It's about painting. It's about camaraderie, and it's about entertainment. And I just love how each generation works together. Like Skyver comes in, he teaches you history about machines. You come in, you're teaching about needles to the new generation, so they have a different understanding. Soba comes in, I come in, Helton come in, machines, how to build machines. Renee comes in, shows how to paint. Like, it's all encompassing everything we do. It's not just like, all right, fly into a cold convention center, nothing happening, rustle up my own clientele, maybe make enough money to go home. No, this is like, we try to take care of all of us. All of us take care of all of us. And that's how this show's progressed. And it works like that. And I agree with you, man. It's a fun
going into something like this, I know I'm going to get a lot out of it. So my mindset going into it is, because of just my personality, who I am, I want to do my best to try and give more than I'm going to receive. That's just the way I am when it comes to this, what you're doing. So I'm going to give away a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be there to listen and talk to anybody that wants to.
That's awesome.
I'll answer any questions that I can. And if I don't have the answer, I'll try and point them in the right direction where they can get the answer. That's just, but I just want you to know that I appreciate what you're doing. So.
Oh, we appreciate you supporting us and being on board. We got to get Jason up there. What are you doing,
Dude,
man?
I would love to, man. That, to me, Rubber City's always been one of those, and I really hate to refer it this way, but it's always been like one of those like goal shows where like I've never really felt like I was at a level that I could show up and like really bring, my A game to it.
Jason, they invited me.
Exactly.
Oh, you're more than
I don't want. No, are you kidding?
Right.
Like, if you put me next to you,
This
it's
guy.
like, just go to her.
No.
Jason, we've all been faking it for decades. Haven't you caught on yet?
I know. I'm still trying to get that confidence level up to the level that it needs to be to really bring my A game. Because right now, I don't really feel like I can contribute.
High five. And
All right.
So I mean,
there's a misconception about the show because it has invitation on it. Our thing is, I don't send you an invitation. It's just, to be honest, it just sounded really cool. Everybody's invited. So if you wanted to come, it is cool though. But everybody's invited.
Well, then I will start planning for next year to be there.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's going on this coming weekend, so it might be a little
start driving
on time. Yeah, I mean, if I start walking now, I can probably get there by Friday.
That's probably just the time.
with your bags. You got
With your
this.
Well, no, I would
Yeah.
just bring a backpack.
Maybe that's all you need.
Oh, okay.
Mark's
I
got
just
tools, Soba's
hitchhike
got
it up.
machines.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm not very big. I can fit in a very small moving box. I know, I've tried. So if you have room for one more moving box,
Yeah, we can overnight
let me
you.
know.
Yeah, overnight you. UPS, man. Have Gabe drop
No,
you
I
off.
tried that once. It didn't go so well.
Then,
Yeah, maybe it's because I had Mexican before they shipped me out.
oh.
Yeah, but that was not a fun experience. It was a rather potent journey. We'll leave it at that.
Silly. Where are you? Like, what state are you in, Jason? What city? What state?
No, but it's for years, and I highly doubt you would ever remember me, Tony. But this was probably back in like 2008, 2009, maybe even before it. But I remember, actually, it had to have been before 2009. But I was at a show. I don't know if it was Virginia Beach or Richmond.
Richmond, probably.
Probably. And you had a table set up there, and I just remember looking at your machines, and I felt like I started drooling, right? Because not only were they aesthetically pleasing, but you were like, oh yeah, man, here you go, try it, run it. And I just remember picking it up, and I was like, it's like holding Excalibur for the first time. You know, you're like, I don't want to breathe wrong near this thing. Like, it's beautiful and it's awesome. I don't want to break it, you know, but you know, getting to know you and getting to know the way that you build machines, I probably could have thrown that machine across the room, picked it back up, and it would have been perfect.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Your stuff is indestructible, man. I don't know if you make it that like built like a tank for that reason, but I feel like I could run it over with like a Humvee, pick it back up, you know, wipe some dust off of it and plug it right in and keep going.
Proper murder.
Oh, it should be, man.
Well, it is, but you don't see stuff like that anymore. You really don't. Nowadays, it's like, you know, people will drop you know, they'll drop one of their pen machines and it's like, well, good luck getting that thing to run right again.
Yeah.
You know, but I still have 20 some odd, maybe 30 coil machines.
Yeah.
I can take any of those right now, plug them in and run them. Any of them. And they will still run like the day I got them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're some of them are pretty old. You know, I'm still pretty young in this industry by comparison standards to obviously the experience that the three of you guys have.
You calling Renee old? That's rude, dude.
I know, Jason.
No, I'm just saying she's got more experience in the industry than I do. That's all. I mean, the only person that's really old here, Mark,
is me.
I think I just like knowing you guys.
I look great though.
I did just learn he has a few years on me in the industry though. So he's got 35. I'm only 32. So I feel young now.
Yeah, I'm just coming up on 15. Okay, so it's a little intimidating to be sitting. I mean, there's what between Mark, Tony, and Renee, there's what almost 100 years of combined experience.
Oh boy.
Almost.
I mean, almost, right?
I just caught that, Mark.
Do you know how intimidating that is?
I am a gentle young babe, okay?
You know, I'm just saying, like, it's tough for someone in my position to feel like they can contribute with people that have so much more experience, right?
Yeah, I learned an awful lot from people with many less years than myself. So
yeah.
I was going to say, I remember for the first few years that I was invited to Paradise, the Needle Jig meetup, which was awesome, by the way. You know, I just remember being a fly on the wall and the amount of information I was absorbing just by standing in the same room, listening to the conversations going on was unreal. It was unbelievable how much I learned just by listening to all of these people that had so much more experience than I did. and what they were saying and what they were discussing. And it's like, I remember, I forget who I was talking to. I think I was talking to my friend Ricardo. Ricardo, by the way, if you're watching, man, I hope your leg's doing better. He was out on a motorcycle ride recently, and a coyote jumped out of the woods at full tilt and shattered his leg while he was on his bike. So, I mean, his bike's fine, so let's not worry about that. But it shattered his two parts of his leg, the two bones in his leg, not his femur, but the tibia and fibia were literally shattered. So he's got a rod in his leg with a whole bunch of pins. Yeah, it's a mess.
Speedy recovery, my dude.
Yeah, yeah. But I remember talking to him, and it's like, sometimes it's okay to just be there and just absorb the information, and that's okay.
Well, you know the story about the 2 ears and the one mouth, right? I mean, that's a lesson that took me forever to learn. And I'm not sure I still mastered it, but yeah, listening is far more important than learning, especially when you're around people that have more experience than yourself.
Well, Jason, you said you may have met me in Richmond.
Yeah.
So to Mark's point, you listen to Billy Easton. Remember Billy, right?
Oh yeah.
That's fuck around, find out there. Like,
yeah.
I remember Skyver was, Mike Skyver, of course. So him and Mary took me to my first Richmond show, and I learned a lot of valuable lessons from Mike and Mary because they're old school and they did not hold back. If I did something wrong, I knew it, and the whole convention got to hear it, that they all knew I fucked up. Like, they would call you right out in front of everybody. So I learned just to kind of, what's that meme where dude's just backing into the bushes? I just sat in the
Homer
bushes.
Simpson just fades back.
I would see like Tony Olivas and like Spiderweb and Skyver and Rieger, and I'd be like, oh my God. I remember one story in particular. I'm rooming with Skyver in Richmond. And, Mike likes to imbibe a little bit. He comes, I'm in bed. I'm straight edge. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do anything. I'm in bed at like 9:30 at a Richmond convention. Mike kicks the door open. I'm laying in bed watching TV. And guess who rolls in with him? Never met him. Hero since 89, Leo Zaletta. And I'm in bed. He's like, we're going to smoke this joint. You mind? I'm like, yeah, okay.
I'm just gonna kind of be here.
Yeah, it was wild. Leo sat down on the bed, and I just was like, I paid my house off because of your flash, dude. Like, this is fantastic. Like, I don't even know what to say to you right now. And he was the coolest dude I ever met. But yeah, I learned to just listen to these guys and learn and pick up. Like, a lot of my mentors came from Richmond. A lot of those guys, Tommy Painter, Jerry Rieger was a huge, huge influence on my career. Machine Gun, and a whole slew of other people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys, they're willing to share, and not maybe to everybody out there, but they're willing to share to people that took the business seriously. Right. And that's where I kind of draw my line, is like, I try not to put too much out there 100% public, but if I'm talking to an individual or a small group of people that are serious, I'm an open book, man. You'll
leak it out.
Yeah. I'll just absolutely, if I think you're an asset to our business, to our industry, as they say these days, if you're an asset, I'm going to help you in any way I can. If I think you're a hindrance, I may just quietly duck out of that conversation and go find another one. That's just. Yeah.
I thought, or if I think you're an ass, then like ass versus asset.
My days of pointing and going douchebag are kind of over. I don't do that anymore. Not so often. So.
Wait a second.
I've learned that I have this rule with kids too. Like, don't tell them more than they want to know. So I will always be an open book to someone that has questions, because when I was coming up, I learned, I had a lot of really good friends bring me to conventions, kind of show me the ropes, not tell me how to do it, but show me the right way to do it. And I would be next to these people that were making my inks, making my needles. And I think even Mark, the first time I ever met you, I had questions for you, like real ones, you know. And one of these moments, Tony, where it was very similar, it was Randy who used to make silverback ink, like the gray wash sets. I was just next to him in Toronto, and I was just like, you're in a crowd and you're just like, oh, hello, you're next to each other. And I legitimately had questions for him because I couldn't figure out, it was like my first time using his washes, and like pre-mix washes, and I couldn't figure it out. So I had like real questions for him. And I remember him just being like, do you want to like move this to a different scenario? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he lit up this giant fucking blunt, and I had my portfolio like in my hands, and he was like, put that thing away, put it away. And we literally had a really amazing conversation just about tattoo theory, how to like everything for like 3 hours. I'm pretty sure my friends thought I was dead, because I just appeared with this man, to the side of an after party and just talking it out. And he was like, don't show me your portfolio. The fact that you asked me questions and held a real conversation tells me you know exactly what you're doing and you know where you're going. Right. And so I always keep that in mind, that when people do have real questions for me, and I know like they're actual things, I'm a complete open book. But if someone's just standing there treating it like I need to tell them all my secrets, or that I'm gonna gatekeep if I can't, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm an awkward conversationalist too. Like we all
I'm not a pre-recording here, this is the conversation, it's an exchange.
And a lot of times too, I have some coworkers where they'll ask me questions, but I can tell that they're trying to figure out exactly how to ask it too, but at least they're trying. So then I'll like kind of navigate with them, maybe, and ask some questions back, and then all of a sudden we have like this amazing conversation where we're both learning something. But that will always show, if you're an asset to the community, is if you are curious, and curiosity, I think, is the greatest learning tool humans have ever. Like that's what makes us different, is that we're so curious and we can ask one another questions. I think that's
no, even though I have 35 years and I'm still that same way. I've always been shy, so I've always backed into the bushes around people. So there's people that are coming to the show that I was just like, what? Like I get nervous. Like I get intimidated still by people, and it's hard for me to engage in conversation, ask them questions. Like it's just my personality type. But I still like watch and listen and learn. Like I go to Hell City and see people. I go to Richmond and see people. I stand over your shoulder and watch you work, Renee, and I'm like, but I don't engage. That's just me.
You need to engage. That's a big part of it. Like you get intimidated. I've really I don't get intimidated by celebrities or anybody or like. The only guy in the industry that's ever really intimidated me is Jack Rudy, and that was just his sheer size. Okay, really? Tramp too, but like in my early years, I remember just walking right up to Tom Renshaw's booth. Yeah. He'd be talking in the far back corner of his booth, getting ready to start a tattoo, and I just walk right up like, "Hey, Tom, how you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing there? Hey, oh, how you doing that? This guy never broke out a liner." He grabbed a big mag and went to work, and he did all his realism stuff like that. I'm like, to just be an ass, walk up, intrude, ask questions, but he was always as kind as could be. I mean, he would, obviously I would not want to distract him from his work, but he could still engage in a basic conversation, answer some questions, and point out what he was doing and give me some simple explanations along the way. Those are the people that helped me. And that's the guy I want to be in return, is helping others. I mean, I only got so much time in the day. I can't just take phone calls from everybody all day, every day. But you put me in the environment of like your show, And that's the reason I'm there. If I make some money, cool. If I don't make money, cool. But it's kind of and it's not, I'm no saint or nothing. I'm going to get as much out of this as I put into it. The round mag theory has been around for way too long at this point, but it's still constantly being revised. Like, I've recently gone back and I'm going to revise it a little bit again here from a conversation I had with Hoodie. He was actually just here today too, but he brought up how he hates round magnums. Can't stand round magnums. He does so much better work with large straight magnums and big ones. And I'm like, Hoodie, you're dumb. It doesn't work, right? Like, it does work for him. And what it comes down to is me trying to figure out, I'm back to the drawing board. What's wrong with my theory, or what are the variables within this theory that are allowing him to be more successful with what he's doing than what I know scientifically should be more successful. Right. And it comes down to a lot of things, and I'll talk about that in the seminar this weekend too. I can't go off on that right now, but this is a conversation 20 plus years after I created this product. I brought this product to market. Virtually every tattooer on the planet uses round magnums, which is ridiculous, but it's 20 something years later, and I'm like, hey, there's still a piece or two of this puzzle that I don't know enough about yet. So, but I'm still working on that. My brain just never stops. It's a pain in the ass, but it's the way it goes.
No, I get it. When you're good at what you do, that's how it is. You just constantly grind
Some
forward.
Things defy physics, and we need to expand our understanding of physics at times. It's kind of crazy. So
yeah, well, everything keeps developing too. With every new thing that comes into the market, it will the way we move our hands, the way we apply, everything will change subtly. So if you're not rethinking or looking at that wheel again, every couple of years, you will fall behind, I feel. But that's just me. That's how I think, which I wish I could shut it off. But I don't know, I feel how fast things are moving. So I'm constantly also trying to look at back what I've already created and just readdressing it, how can I change this? Maybe I'm different. Maybe my perspective is different. I have different friends with more knowledge. How can I just update my creations, my inventions, my style, the way I practice, my art of tattooing and painting, and I think that's good. And that's what keeps you young and fresh in the, in this community as well, Mark. And even, Jason, with what you're doing with Reinventing, look at it. It looks so good. You've I've watched you adapt over the years, and it's wonderful. It's the reinventing yourself, literally.
Yeah, it's been the mantra.
Yeah.
Sure. Exactly. It's funny you say that, because we had a conversation about 2 weeks ago in the shop. We're trying to reinvent the tattoo convention too by introducing all these different aspects of our lives into it, with community and art and outside influence, things that are kind of just you wouldn't think would go together with tattoo. But I think tattoo goes with
everything.
Coffee, it just goes with everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it's my life.
I don't think there's an art form. I'm not sure there's an art form out there that's more personal than tattooing.
Yeah.
So that's the way it has to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything else is, just more cold. It's art on canvas. It's no offense, Renee. I love paintings and beautiful paintings, but that's beautiful and it's inspiring and it's emotional, but there's nowhere else you get that personal connection than you do from tattooing.
Yeah.
It's connected. You take it everywhere you go, no matter what. You have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
So this tattoo is part of my community. It's part of my friendships. It's part of my family. It's part of my history. It's part of everything.
Yeah. And you can't help.
So it's dead.
You can't help but think of where you were when this was tattooed, and the conversations and everything involved. It's just, it's deep. It's way deep.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty crazy to think, but the last couple of years I've been doing tattoo, like art, not tattoo festivals, but art festivals. And um, I'll have to brag for a second, but I just won the Nantucket Plein Air Festival. I got a
Nice.
second. It was
Nice.
like, thank you. So I'm with these, like, I don't want to call them normal, but I mean, artists, like painters, plein air painters, oil painters. I'm with like that. They don't know the tattoo industry at all. They don't. And I felt like I was like the representative, the tattooers for, these events, because I was the only one.
mhm.
And it's been happening more and more. The more, festivals I go to, the more people I meet that are just like so curious. They're like, wait, so you tattoo and you paint? And I explained them, I'm like, it's one of the most fulfilling things I get to do, because I am actually interacting with the client. And not only is it like a custom thing that they get to do, but they get to carry around their art forever. Whereas this, I can like either have it trapped in a book until my family finds it after I die, or I can have it in a gallery, or I can have it, but it's monetary. Like a hurricane comes by and wipes out your whole house, that painting's gone. It's like the last bit of gallery. You can just like get up and go. And especially with all my cover ups and things like that, I would never be able to help. I would never get that same zest I do when I get to help someone cover up their scars or cover up old tattoos, or, something unwanted and now created into something beautiful. I see my engineering brain gets clicked on a little bit more of a tattooing, where painting I can zone out and have like that, that beautiful lizard brain that some people get, not everybody. Jason's like, yes, I know this. But think of this too, Tony. I've learned this as well. Like creating an event in a space is art form in itself. So the fact that you like word it in the way of you are putting yourself into it, you're all into it. You are creating art, because you're creating like more of a environmental art for people to come into a space and feel something. Like you're having all these vendors and tatters and artists come into a space to be able to create. Not every space can do that. If you just like shoved us all in a convention hall and expect us to create amazing things, I think that'd be asking for a lot, and you'd have to have a lot of like strong-minded artists do that. But you've actually like fluffed it up for us. You've given us like all these capabilities of doing our best work in this convention center that you've curated for us. So that in itself is art. Like you get to create art in a whole different way. I mean, I know just because of this event, I'm gonna be bringing my A game. Like I know I just can't do just a bunch of walk-ups and stuff, even though I will. But I have like a 3-day rose project that I'm gonna be doing.
Oh, cool.
It's gonna be like showing what's up,
You're trying to go for those rings, huh?
Yeah. I'm trying to get a little bit more competitive again, because I did so much of that in my 20s, and so I don't know, it kind of creates like a nice different environment to where we can leave and have this an entire yeah, you're invoking emotion. Oh dang,
What?
You didn't see those yet?
Oh my God. Oh my God. You were joking. You were joking.
That's sick, man.
Oh my
awesome.
God.
Legend.
What?
Talk about
That is
life
legit.
goals.
I know, for real.
Life goals.
You got
One day I will.
Oh my
I will
God.
be good
There's
enough.
two of these
If I
best
work
show
hard
rings.
enough.
What's that?
If I
know
work
you're
hard
gonna be
enough,
a
I'll
cool
get there
guy.
one
Like,
day.
hey, you gotta get that ring. And I was like, yeah,
Or you can order one on Temu.
that's
There's-
amazing. Don't
That's
ruin the
good.
mark.
Oh, Mark, do they have them on Temu? Is that it?
I don't know.
What's
Custom-
that?
Probably they have everything else.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
See,
ring?
that's just gorgeous, man. That in and of itself is a work of art.
The Rubber
Look
City.
at that. The blued steel.
That's a blued steel.
Yeah, that's heat blued too.
And then I had the logos engraved on the wings.
Nice.
So with these, we give these to Tattoo of the Day, Black and Gray, Tattoo of the Day Color. And it's a combination project. Now, these are my two I submit. But Rich Helton from Blood Money Irons, and Soba, BJ Johnson, they do a couple too. So these go to our winners each day. So we really take care of our winners. Like you don't just get trophies, which I don't know if you've seen our trophies, but they're pretty dope too. They light up and we just blow off fireworks and shit. Like, no, I'm kidding. They light up. They're pretty cool. We have a guy, Enlightened Obsessions, that does these. They're all laser engraved. They're super dope. So we give away machines, and then we have a bunch of sponsors. Like Mark's going to give away needles. Industry Inks is there. They're giving away prize packs of inks to our winners. We have TT's Aftercare that I work with. They're giving away like full. I think they're giving bags to every single artist that shows up. They also give water and paper towels to every artist that come in. Like we really pamper, man. We really give everything away. We really go all out. This isn't show up, tattoo, leave. Like we make it a celebration. Like, and that's just some of these trinkets I was saying. I didn't mean to digress from the whole conversation, but
no, that's what we're here. We're for promotion, right? We're here to promote the show.
Plug it.
What
Plug
the people got to understand is, like, if they want to engage in these, personal conversations, they don't need to sit here and observe these from home. They just got to get off their ass, get to the show, and there's going to be a group of people with a lot of knowledge that they can just walk up, talk to, and get whatever questions they have answered, and that's what we're promoting, is like, get out there. We want to talk to you. We can learn from you. We can share with you. That's what it's about, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're just people like everybody else. Like, we're getting back to that intimidation factor. When I used to go to Richmond, I learned that I'm just a person. I'm a dad. I go to work every day. I pay my bills. I have my trials and tribulations in life. I'm no different than anybody. And just because I'm obsessive compulsive about building tattoo machines, tattooing at conventions, doesn't make me any different as a human being from anybody else. And I'm always available. I just want to state that, like, because that's something I struggle with, and I know some people struggle with that. Like, people call me a legend, they call me an influence, all this stuff. I don't look at any of it that way. I don't. I'm just dad, friend, convention guy. That's it, man. Like, I'm here for you. You can call me up in the middle of the night. You got a problem, I'll talk to you about anything. You need a pizza, I'll go get pizza with you. Like, everybody's a friend to me, within a certain guideline, but everybody's a friend to me. I got something you want to talk about? You have something you want to talk about? Call me. I don't care. We can talk about cars. We could talk about kids. We could talk about, I'm in the middle of trying to repair that little kitty toy that I'm bringing to the show that you ride on the jet ski. Call me about that. Like, I need help. I'm not afraid. I think a part of the process in my whole entire life is to reach out and ask questions, and the people are available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get kind of weirded out when people like Jason come up and kind of want to like fanboy and things like that. It's like, dude, I'm just a tattooer. And I've been saying for a long time, I'm a tattooer first and a supplier second. It's like, because that's where I started, and that's who I am. I don't tattoo hardly at all anymore, but I mean, wish I could. Wrist doesn't quite allow me, but I get weirded out by guys like you, Jason. So, but it happens, it's part of it. Like, it's hard for me to understand because, like I said, I don't really experience that when I see somebody across the room who may be famous or they may be a legend or whatever. The hairs on my neck don't stand up. I don't get butterflies.
Oh, I still get it.
I don't rush up to them and intrude on their space. But if we happen to casually be next to each other at any point in time, I'm happy to have a conversation with just about anybody. And I don't know. And so it feels weird when people do it to me because I would never consider doing it to others, I guess. So
yeah,
I still love you, Jason. And it's not just for the whiskey.
I want Jason's autograph.
No, you don't. It's not worth it.
Yes, I do.
We'll start a new trend. We'll all start getting Jason Leeser tattooed on us.
Oh man, stop.
Yeah.
See, my thing is like, and part
Hey,
of the
where'd
reason
Renee
why I
go?
do, I think she dropped off
I
for a
think her
minute.
signal fell. Yeah.
There she is. She just came back.
Oh wait, am
Nope.
I there?
And
Oh,
she's
you
gone. And
were
she's
just a second ago.
Am
There
I
you
There you
there?
are.
are. Quit messing
Oh,
around. Quit touching
I can
stuff.
hear everything.
And she's
Like,
back.
Oh, damn. She heard us all.
I heard everything.
I heard everything.
No, I am gonna start actually asking for your autograph, Jason, in front of people because
Yeah, me too. I'll be like, do you know him? He's Jason.
you know him.
He's the
We're gonna start
man.
this.
And I'm
This
gonna,
is
and you know, I'm immediately gonna turn around and be like, "You don't want mine. These are the guys I look up to.
No.
This is who you want there."
Let
I
us
want
do
this
it.
is
anybody.
this is a thing now. From here on forward, this is a thing. Every time I see you, make a scene.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna screen
That's
cap you right
fine.
now and make you sign it next time I see you.
Well,
Oh, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
that works.
Like, I'm gonna make it really awkward too. Be like, sign
I
my
have autographs.
yeah. Creatures Cave just commented, "I have autographs." Sorry, you guys are all
Nice.
beat.
I have so
Limited
much.
edition autographs. Okay, I
I
only
already
sign so many things a year, so you know.
I have autographs.
Now he's not only a legend, but he's an elite.
So you guys know Forrest Knott? He's from Ohio.
Yeah,
He does all the conventions. He's had everybody tattoo him like signatures. He asked me
that's
to
a good
do
idea.
it. It's the first person that's ever asked me to tattoo an autograph on him. I was absolutely weirded out, 150,000%. Because that's something I'm not like. It's just weird. I'm just a dude. Like I said, I'll just wash your car. Like,
Yeah.
when you-
Well, I only signed my.
My
Awesome.
truck could use it, just so you know. And by the time I get to Akron,
bring
definitely.
it. Oh, it will. Trust me.
Well, I think we all have this imposter syndrome, and I've talked about it a little bit lately because I have a lot of younger staff members that are like, "How do you get famous? You know, how do you get known? How do you like do this thing?" And I was like, "Well, honestly, I think if you just like stay in there, right? Stay in the fight and do it with integrity, so you don't that people don't hate you. You know, like you don't get the rep of wow, that person's a jerk, or are you an asset or are you an ass?" And just keep doing it. And eventually you'll be like one of the only people doing it. So people know who you are because there's not many people to cipher through. You know, there was a moment where we were all talking about, I just did a small convention in Chattanooga. And there was like, we were all like kind of mingling together, you know, on these big like tables. And everyone just kind of had a moment where like, oh, who's been tattooing 10 years? Who's been tattooing? And I was like, one of the only ones that have been tattooing as long as I have. And
95. Oh, what?
oh, no. Yeah. I was like, oh.
94 years.
But I mean, there was like some people there that were like, eh. And then there's some people there, like, there's a lot of young women that come up to me. And I talked to them later and they were shop owners as well. And they were like, thank you so much for paving the way. And that was the first time I've ever been told that. And it was just this moment where I was like in front of Patty saying the same thing, you know, like, your flash got me through college, you know? And just like having that again, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even 40 yet. And this is happening. Oh, like I still got some years on me. So I still have some years to go as well. So I think that's it. If you just like keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, stay like in your lane and like be a good person to the people who are coming up behind you, you know, then you too will have this famous ideology where us old folk are like, I'm not famous. I've just been working my ass off for like over a couple decades, you know? And so it is kind of weird to hear that from people, but that's why it's like we are just the last people left that are still doing it, who still laugh, who still smile, who want to share, you know. And I think that's just so important for people to realize that this isn't like a clique thing, this isn't like a holy trinity thing, this is like no, we just stuck in there and we just kept doing what we love to do. And you could be famous doing anything. You could be like, I don't know, think of like a crazy job and just keep doing it. You will be like the aficionado of that job.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
only do it if it makes you happy. That's the key. Because so I've been on the road for decades, telling my story, selling my products, my wares, and talking about needles forever, right? In my brain, that's boring. I know the story. I've been through it tens of thousands of times, right? But I still do it every time with a smile, as long as somebody's, listening. I think they're an asset to the business and they're listening. I'm happy to share and interact and learn something from them, because I don't really want to wake up and do the same thing every single day. But the fact that I still find it enjoyable this many decades later is kind of a shock to me. But this is where, if I'm talking to somebody I don't think is an asset to the business, or I think, conversation started and it's let's say it takes a turn and it's falling on deaf ears, I'm happy to shut my mouth and walk away because I already know the story. So it's like I don't need to just keep expressing it, because like I only want to share with those that want the knowledge. So that's why shows like this are so important. You're going to get
Yeah.
people coming in here with more pure intentions and a true love for the industry, not necessarily just looking to get rich, get laid, get famous, or whatever. Because yeah, there's some of that out there, sure, whatever, but if that's why you're here, go away. You're not necessarily wanted. It's the way I feel about it. But
hard work pays off.
yeah,
Hard work.
Work hard. You just got to keep going. Keep working.
Well, smart hard work pays off. The whole thing, smart or not hard. No, do both. If you do both, it'll pay off.
We're all kind of here because we're weird and don't quite fit in anywhere else, to be honest with you. Have you ever thought about it that way? Like, okay, Tony's different than me, and we're different than Jason. We're different than Renee here. We're all very different. We all have our own, separate passions and hobbies and stuff like this. But this bond we have is so strong, and our inability to probably work for others is something to do with it. But for the most part, there's something so charged that pulls us together, and I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but there's something I don't really even see it in the music industry, and I don't see it in many other trades or industries out there. But the attraction, the internal attraction within this industry is pretty powerful.
I think Gabe said it earlier on the 9 o'clock podcast. There's been a mindset shift. Because it's not always been this way. And I think it's a personality type too, that we all have something in common. Which
I think
we don't know what it is, but there's some energy in the universe.
Is it a mindset shift, or is it, is it the mindset coming back to balance? Because this is the kind of mindset that I came up with in my early years, is hanging out, listening to Jack Armstrong stories and Catfish Carl and Rick Walters and all these old bastards, and, getting tattooed by little Vinnie Myers with Tony Olivas on the other side of the curtain. And like Jason says, sitting there just absorbing, just listening and staring and trying to steal and ask questions or whatever. But the camaraderie and the sharing was there decades ago. Yeah. It was not with the general public, but it was internally. And it seems like we got away from that as a group with the publicity, the commercialization, and all of that. So I think we kind of, as a group, lost our way, and we're finding center again, if that makes any sense to you guys. How do you feel about that?
No,
yeah, what was
you
guys talk about, Tony? I didn't hear that.
Pardon me?
Are people not listening to is the mindset? I'm trying to figure out the mindset that you guys talked about. I'm going to take a guess.
Because when I grew up, everything was really gate kept, and you kept your mouth shut, and you sat in the bushes and you listened. You didn't. There was a time and a place for you, and certain people would give back if you were, quote, worthy.
Right.
If they felt you're worthy, so you almost had to be initiated into the group.
Yeah,
but that's what conventions. But that happened at conventions,
so.
In the shop too.
Once people would see you were coming around and you were serious, just like an apprenticeship, like you got to show up, you got to keep showing up, and people see you keep showing up and you're working it because you're worth it, then they freely give it back to you. Now I'm talking recovery. It's the same principles, you know.
I learned far
That's
more in that type of environment, the convention networking environment, than I did from, you know, the countless years working in a shop with other people.
yeah. Oh, absolutely,
I mean,
1,000%. And I
so
think
so
that's
for the people that don't do that, I'm like, wow, you're missing out on so much.
agree 100%. I know for me, what intrigued me about conventions was the amount of knowledge and expertise, amongst other things. But when you go to a convention and you watch people and you learn things and you see new technology and you make new friends and you have that camaraderie and then you're making calling back and forth. Now you're building a community that supports you as an artist, but you go home refreshed. Like in a studio, sitting down grinding every day, I wouldn't learn shit. And I couldn't wait to get back to a convention, get that energy, get that knowledge, take everything I learned from everybody else who's doing something different and knows more than me, take it back and apply those tools and tricks to my craft. And that, I mean, 35 years of doing conventions, dude, that's what inspired me to do a convention and continue on the legacy of conventions in my perspective. You know, so
That's
I 100% agree with you, Mark, on that point.
Yeah. Like the community is so, it's, I don't think people realize how when we do come to work, we're kind of in this like little capsule when we're with our client. You know, we don't really get to have like full conversations with our coworkers because we're usually shoving food in our faces or, you know, trying to like get a smoke break or something, or like clean up from the crackhead mess outside, or like we're not, we don't really get a chance to talk, you know? So the community aspect, a lot of people don't realize that they are in that bubble day to day. Because I was kind of in that bubble. I was fortunate enough to start tattooing in an area where there's tattoo shops, you know, kind of like it was just kind of normal, you know. There wasn't a lot of them, but they were all friends. They were all, you know, well, the ones that I was indoctrinated in, because they're all under like 1-2 guys that like splurred off like apprentices, and then those apprentices were friends, and then those apprentices were friends. But as soon as I started doing the conventions, then I've like everyone there is the same mindset. We're all away from home. We're all put money in it. We're all trying to utilize the convention as much as we can. And I think the mindset I do see a lot of times in like newer kids coming into the convention, cats, I don't want to call them kids, cool cats, is that they have headphones on and they're face down, or they put a sign on their table and says like, text me if you want to get tattooed, you know, and they're losing the whole idea of like, that's your chance to meet your community, you know. And the gatekeeping thing, I've had to answer this a lot lately because I just hang out with cool young kids. And I try to make it positive because it is like, gatekeeping is actually a really good thing sometimes, and why we were so like hesitant upon taking new people in, because then if you look at history, you know, of what Kate and Lyle and everyone that's done for the laws of tattooing, you know, to keep us safe, to keep hepatitis at bay, you know, because I've traveled to countries that I didn't get tattooed in because I knew hepatitis was on the rise, you know, in their community. So like why we gatekeep, I think, is one, it is a sacred practice that we have to protect as well. And if everyone just starts tattooing and getting machines online and tattooing their friends and the friends and the friends, all of a sudden we have a hepatitis blow up. And then the health departments, the community don't know what to do. And they just blame all tatters, not just those kids tattooing out of their garages, but all tatters. So all the ones that keep themselves healthy, licensed, you know, and professional, we're going down with them. So that's why I think gatekeeping is the wrong term. It's actually just our professional responsibility to protect what we've earned, you know. And there's a lot to tattooing. You can't just learn it in one day. You know, I didn't think I really got a grasp on what I was doing until I was like 5 years in. you know, and I was pushed through every single doorway to try every little thing to, you know, my group that I had just kept pushing me into like little different scenarios and guiding me where I need to go. And I had a lot of naysayers that were like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. No, you can't do that. And, you know, but I listened to them and tried to see them like where their point of view was at least, you know. But I think the mindset is going to change because, you know, we always have this like wave of new, and then they have to be broken a little bit, and then they realize, oh, that's what you guys were talking about. Okay. So I think like what we're seeing is just like a wave of new tatters from, you know, like TV shows and all that stuff. It makes it look very cool. I have to say, guys, we're cool right now. We're really hip.
Yeah, I don't feel that at all.
I don't feel that at all. Yeah.
We'll go on vacation after all this, but right now, I'm not.
Renee, to bounce off of what you were just saying, I think we're also encountering, you know, a different point in time with people that are coming up now. And I mean, I started to see this when I went through my first apprenticeship, because I had to go through two. The first one was basically just a money grab. But during that first one, I remember like, okay, I was told, buy these machines, buy these needles, and do it like this.
Right.
And I remember turning around to the person that was trying to teach me, and I said, okay, but why? Why this machine? Why this brand? Why this make, model, type, or whatever? Why these needles from this company? Why does that matter? You know? And I just remember constantly being told, like, the why doesn't matter. Use this, do it like this. This is the way it's always been done. It's not going to change. It will never change. This is what you do. This is what you use. This is how you do it.
There's two sides to that coin. There's two sides to that coin. Because I get this all the time. People come up to me at a show and they're learning from somebody, but they've like, you know, read up on me, round bag theory, and they're really curious about my products and my opinions and things like that or whatever. And I'm always step back and like, well, what's your mentor want you to do, tell you to do? Well, they want me to do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, well, that's what you should be doing now while you're learning. And later, when you've been set free, you know, you can experiment with reading, learning, or whatever you want. But while you're learning, you should be following every clue you're given and cue you're given by your mentor and doing it the way they want you to, because they're teaching you that for a reason. If they know what they're doing, they're teaching it to you for a reason. If not, they're teaching it to you because that's what they were taught and they don't have any more expanded knowledge. That's a different story. But but I always tell them, do what your mentor wants you to do for the time being. You have your whole future ahead of you to experiment and try and break the rules that we've all tried to break. Every tattoo generation tries to break the same damn rules, and every single tattoo generation fails miserably at breaking the same damn rules because people can't learn from history. But I think that's super critical. Like and it leaves me conflicted because I want to share my information and I want to share my knowledge with these people because I know they can learn from it, but I don't want to counter what they're being taught because I'm going to be making an enemy over there. And I don't know what that guy's plan is, you know? So it's hard for me sometimes to have those conversations.
Yeah. I had a youngin once tell me that when I explain things, it's so beyond that they can't grasp it because they're only 3 years in. And they were like, Renee, I can't, and Tony's cracking me up. But
sorry.
They were like, I'm only 3 years in. I can't understand what you're saying about making nebulas twist, you know? And I realized that too. Like sometimes I'm just like, we're at where we're at when we're explaining something. And yeah, I don't want to mess up their mentor and what they're teaching, because I'm Mr. Miyagi hard when I'm apprenticing someone.
Well, it would be disrespectful for me to step in and tell them that I think there's a better way to do it than what their mentor's teaching. That is
Right.
just complete disrespect.
Yeah.
And I don't
No.
want to disrespect anybody that, well,
Right.
doesn't have it coming to them, but but that's very difficult for me. So like, I have plenty of public information out there, but the one-on-ones, that's where I say I also got to kind of pick and choose who I talk to, what I share, and whatnot, because I do not want to be picking a fight with a guy I don't know, and I may very well have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah. I remember there was this saying, this quote that it's not that serious, but it was one of the best things that anyone ever told me while I was preparing a tattoo for someone. And I was trying to draw and draw and draw and hash out this idea. And I can't say what it is because it calls them out. But I was just finicking over this thing that was just so cheesy. And I didn't want to really do it, but I was trying to just satisfy the people in the room. You know what I mean? And so Fredo, that I used to work with in St. Pete, Florida, he's still down there, literally just looked up to me, could have just see me erasing. And he was just like, hey, that looks weird. And I was like, I know. And he was like, well, why the fuck are you doing it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I think it's every now and again, if you have good people around you and good mentors around you, that they're the perfect people to be like, hey, you're struggling hard. Like, it's not right. Why are you doing it that way? Let's find another way, And that's what a good mentor is for. But if like someone is coming up to us with a real problem, like you can tell us your expertise all you want. But I mean, in that moment, he didn't tell me how to redraw that drawing. He made me do it myself, and like figure out what was going wrong with it. Like he made me actually like vocalize how I was going to continue doing the drawing. He's like, no, you know what to do. What are you going to do different? Because he also knew I was at that point where I could have just drawn that. I don't know why I was fussing with it, So kind of in that same idea of like, we have all this knowledge, but we just need to give them just enough to where they can make up their own mind on it. And you have so much of what you've invested in research out there for the world. They can take that knowledge and bring it back to their mentor and say like, hey, let's have a conversation. And, maybe that is it. Like maybe there is a lot of newer people coming in the industry. You don't realize that we love having conversations. There is no right or wrong. It's a conversation. Like my hand is different from Tony and Jason,
A lot of tattooers are stuck in their way though. You know that, right? So send an apprentice back with somebody that like to confront their mentor with a new question. It makes me look like an ass, and I do that well enough on my own without having to pick more fights. So it's like I will share the basics of my theories because I'll share everything I have out there public with them or whatever, but I won't go in too deep with them. I'll be like, hey, you know what? When you're done with your apprenticeship or whatever, if you want to call me and go, we'll do a deep dive on whatever you want, and I'll give you my theories. Not that my theories are correct. I've always got to consider that I'm wrong. I have a hard time with it, but I have to consider that I could be wrong, or they're at least be willing to change my theory, which I'm currently doing in some other stuff. It's like, but it's like I said, I'm Renee. You know me. I'm not afraid of conflict at all, but I don't want to initiate it, and it's a respect thing for me. Respect is key in this industry, and it has been. You respect your mentors, and if you do, your mentors become your friends, and that should be everybody's goal. Your mentors should become your friends. They're not above you. They don't want to be above you. They want to be your equal, and that is just that's how I see it. It's like, I've told some pretty old famous fuckers to go fuck themselves on a regular basis because, we get to that level eventually. And everybody should strive to get to that level. In fact, they should be starting at that level.
I think I've told you to fuck yourself before.
A few times easily. Probably very justly do at times. I'm not always that pleasant.
With love. Yeah, you're not that pleasant all the time, but I love you. That's like part of it.
I can't be. Nobody can.
But I think that is probably the different, we're taught to just like where we stand in our lives, what we have to offer. I love sharing because I love tattooing. I think I can say the same for you guys. You know, I love the art form of it. I love the craft. I love like the ingenuity. You know, we get to deal with like mechanical machines and cellular structure. When we're talking about inks, we're talking about, you know, like there's so much fun to it, and on so many different categories, so many doorways that you can branch yourself out into. You know, because you know I've been doing my weird little inventions and my skincare. And we've all been through it too. We've all been those young whippersnappers trying to figure everything out. So yeah, back again, you know, back loop around, you know, that's why I think it's really important that even after COVID, I think we're all worried about like conventions and what would happen. But I think now, like, we can all see that it's like, it's still growing strong and we can still come together. We can still do really cool stuff together too, you know, and hopefully we're making all really good stories that we can talk about when we're older, you know, like if we did that, satisfied. Because yeah, I think it's hard to satisfy people with such drive that you guys have, but we do it.
Great.
Well, I think that's going to just about round out today's show.
I got to start driving sometime, man. Jesus.
Yeah, sorry to keep you on here. We know you're important and you have important things to do, Mark. Yeah, so everyone's getting pretty close to the camera now. Is that what we're doing?
I like that purple background, that brick.
Thanks. It's fake brick.
About to die.
Is it fake, really?
That's really nice.
It's like a banner tapestry.
That's fit. I would have never guessed in a million years. It's done very well.
I just thought he was broadcasting from his dungeon at home.
And Mark's like that.
Yeah, for real.
He's got another thing on the side.
Naughty dungeon.
Most of my enemies are hanging over there in shackles, forced to watch me succeed.
Yeah,
thank you
the
all.
side hustle is real.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for jumping on here today. I can't appreciate it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it and the conversation. Thank you all very, very, very much. Hopefully we get you guys back on again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do like an after show recap and go over some of the highlights of things. You know, hopefully that will hopefully we can arrange that. Although next Monday I will have Russ Abbott on here. We'll be talking about 3D modeling and how that's, you know, starting to be incorporated into the changing landscape of tattoo design. Renee, it looks like in the comments you just got a marriage proposal. Yeah, I'll share that one.
From who?
Some shady cracker.
Says he can cook.
Yeah. Here it is.
Cracker.
I can cook. Here it is.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm single. Technically, I'm for grabs, but
They also
can
clean.
you take care of 4 cats on the way?
That in and of
Will you
itself.
do the
is a
litter
challenge.
box?
Keeping up with litter boxes is
I
no
mean,
joke.
that's like the realest offer that I've gotten in a long time.
Oh my
You didn't
God.
say anything about doing dishes.
Shady cracker.
I might have an empty chair.
That's kind of romantic so far.
All right, guys. We got to wrap this up
Renee,
today.
you know who this is, too.
All right, man.
Yeah.
And then Jason, I hope you realize that the 3 of us are going to be talking about you all weekend
No
if you
doubt.
don't show up to defend yourself.
No doubt in my
I'm
mind.
gonna bring one of your, put it in my booth. We're like, this is Jason Leeser. Do you know?
Yeah, send me one.
But Tony, I'll send you a whole gift
Okay.
pack. Tony, are you going to be up at Paradise this year?
I don't know. Does that overline with Richmond? I think it's too close to Richmond for me. I don't travel much anymore.
It's really close to Rich.
Yeah, I think it's
hard
the
for
weekend
me.
before or after.
I don't want to get into it, but I can't
I
travel.
think, yeah,
like I
it's
used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do like
Okay.
2 shows a year.
Okay.
It's tougher.
I was going to say maybe I'll make the drive out there and I'll come and visit you. Bring you a little care package with some prints or paintings or
Yeah, I'll see. I know Gabe asked me to come up and teach, and if we can get some interest, I might come up with Soba or something. We'll see.
Cool. Well,
But
I
I'd
mean,
love.
I'll have a little care pack for you there as well. Mark, you as well, because we don't want you to get jealous. So,
I
um,
don't get jealous.
but Mark, you also have a nice bottle of something coming to you. So,
If you you want to give me your address, I'll send you something from Rubber City. I'll send you
right
some
on,
stuff
man.
in your
Right
like
on.
T-shirt sizes and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, just hit
Definitely.
me
I'm all
up.
about it. Will
Yeah.
do. Will do. All right, guys. Thank you
Well,
so much for
everybody,
coming on
everybody
today.
that's watching, drive out to Rubber City, come see us, have fun.
Phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Like one of my most desired shows to work at. So don't
Yes,
worry.
and it's
Next
at
year
the
I will
Just
definitely
Night
be there,
Center.
Tony. I will definitely be there. I will make it a priority, and I will be.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
So-
we'll get you front and center, man. If you can make it
Oh,
up
Lord.
the weekend,
Yeah.
make it up and do a live podcast. That would be great too.
I'll give that a shot, man. I don't remember. I don't have my calendar in front of me, so I don't remember what I have going on this weekend. But I may head up there late Saturday night, crash in my car, and be there for
No,
Sunday.
you don't have to crash in your car. We got
Well, I
you.
mean, it depends on the drive and what time I get done work. So, but I'll
You get
figure
up
it out. I'll try to make it for you.
Jason, I got a room.
Oh,
Oh, well, as long as I have like a 2
Dating
foot by 2 foot
competition.
square to
Oh.
sleep in,
I was going to say, I could
I'm
bring
not
one
a very
of our
big
extra
person.
pet
I don't
beds.
take up much room. I've slept in closets in hotel
You
rooms
go,
before.
you just go.
Like that
You're in the
was
fetal
my own
position
little
in the
private
corner.
room. Like and I was fine with it too. I fit fine, no issues.
I remember the days of squeezing like six tattooers in a hotel room and
Oh yeah,
all the floor
Holy
space and
shit.
chairs
Yes.
and
and then
Those were
trash
fun
in the
times,
hotel
man.
room. Hotel. Oof.
Remember
All right,
trashing
guys.
the hotels? Yeah, I remember that.
I do got to get moving.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you
Love you
very
guys.
much for
Hey, I'll see you
having
guys
Alright.
this weekend. Thank
for
you.
coming
You
out.
guys.
Thank you,
Everyone travel
and I'll
safe.
try to make it out there. Have a good one, everyone, and I'll see you next week if I don't see you over the weekend.
All right, brother.
Cheers.
Take care.
Take care.